Okay, 17 seconds in. Hello, everybody. How are you? I hope you're doing fantastic. I want to give a big shout out to Lee Camp and a thank you for him coming on the show this morning. It really means a lot to have people like him come over and spend time here and put a spotlight on my show for a change. You know, it's nice. So, I've been spotlighting Lee Camp and Graham and Jimmy Dore and Kyle Kalinske and David Pakman and Tim Black and um, so many others too that I always bring up and I tell you guys go check them out, go check them out, go check them out. I realize most of you guys don't do that. I know that. Um, but if you did, if you followed those recommendations, it would make us hit a lot harder whenever the time comes that I ask somebody to come do an interview. So keep that in mind, guys. I know you love this show. I know that this is the the place where you come when you're watching podcasts and whatnot. But try to be a little more diverse because understand that you're watching me and I'm getting my information from other sources and I want you guys to get it from other sources as well. The reason why I brought that up was I want to talk to you guys about what YouTube has done to my channel, about being suppressed and about not being able to get my word out. It's really hard. And then what makes it even worse, on top of all that, the algorithming and the bullshit and the dicking around with my numbers and not telling my audience when I go live. And now I know it's not just me. It's Jimmy Dore his audience doesn't get notified. Even though he's got millions of people though, and it hurts him too. And it's hurting all of our messages. When I was getting algorithm and I was getting shut down on my channel, and I was reaching out to all these other people telling them this is what's happening to me and it's going to happen to you too. Now they're saying it and they're saying it's happening to us and it's going to happen to you too. It's a giant wall of dominoes falling down and it's all falling down right in front of us. Right. It's here for all of us to see. Unfortunately, it was one of the things that Lee and I started talking about after my computer crashed because I kicked it by accident. But the thing about all that really gets me the most is YouTube has got this stupid copyright strike on my biggest channel, right? Now imagine if I only had Trendy As Dabbers, the big channel, 26,000 subscribers, 25,000 subscribers, and I never protected myself and built up this entire dynasty of live channels that we've got. And I secured that show with Lee Camp, and it's scheduled, and then this guy copyright strikes me and takes my channel down, and I can't do the interview with Lee Camp. That may be one of the most important moments of my entire life. And YouTube has no problem telling me, sorry. And the guy that copyright struck my channel, sorry, no problem. I don't care if your life fucking it goes down. You use some of my material without my permission. Yeah, Matthew, I'm gonna block you from my live stream. That's just fucking stupid. So when YouTube and this guy took my channel down, the only reason that you guys were able to see that Lee Camp video was because I was smart enough to take precautions and to have backup channels ready to go so that you guys could still see my material. I'd love to give you a call to action and say, hey, here's what you can do to tell YouTube to go fuck themselves. But I'm over that shit. I don't give a fuck what you do now. I just want you guys to be aware of it and just know that I'm not the only one dealing with it now. Lee Camp has to deal with it. Jimmy Dore has to deal with it. Imagine Jimmy Dore gets a gets an interview with I don't know, just say someone fucking like Joe Biden, Kamala Harris or something, or Donald Trump and Mike Pence, or he schedules an event where he's going to have a debate between the four of them. You know, and then YouTube just decides, oh, we're going to take your fucking channel down because of something you did in 2017, and some other podcaster didn't like the fact that you played his video on our service. Oh, wait. You mean I played somebody else's material and let more people see it? And he's punishing me for getting more of his message heard from more people? Does that even make fucking sense on the same service, YouTube, that his material is on? So just understand, guys, my main channel is down, and it did not receive the broadcast from Lee Camp this morning, okay? I knew it was going to be like that. I kept checking the channel every day to see if they were going to bring it back up for me. You know, I've contacted them twice, if not 3 times now, to fix this stupid fucking copyright strike that my channel should not have been brought down for. Hey, man, you want to delete my fucking video? You want to delete my artwork? Okay, fine. Fuck you. Do it. Don't take my channel down and make it so other people can't hear what me and Lee Camp have to talk about this morning. You know? So I just want to say, suck my balls and suck the head of my cock to YouTube. You guys are douchebags. I fucking hate you. I fucking hate you. That's how I feel about YouTube. You know, back in the day, I was doing shows, and every time I'd be like, fuck YouTube. YouTube sucks my dick. I said it at the beginning of every show. You know, I still mean that, and it's for shit like this. You know, I can't access, not that they're even going to let my audience know that I'm live or that I've got something going on. You know? And, you know, I gotta say this too. I noticed a lot of you were not at the interview this morning. I don't know why. I really thought there'd be a lot more people there watching. You know, it'd be nice if you guys had the opportunity to be there live. It would have been a nice gesture for you to make it to the actual live show. That would have been great. It makes a difference, you know. And if you didn't come to the show because you didn't want to show me support while I was live, you didn't want those numbers to go up, well, you might want to ask yourself what your fucking problem is. Joseph says, Second Amendment violation, which is becoming, this is awesome, mad respect, loving it. What are you talking about, Second Amendment violation, Joseph? I'll talk about Second Amendment. That's one of my things. Scott Smith says, start new channel. Scott, I've got 20 channels on YouTube, okay? I've already started new channels. The thing is the channel that they brought down has 25,000 subscribers, Scott. Do you understand where I'm coming from? None of my other channels have numbers like that. They have, you know, maybe 3,000, maybe 2,500 followers. This one channel, man, 25,000 subscribers, and YouTube doesn't let them know that when I go live anyway. Thanks, Luke. Hey, wow, Luke, thank you, buddy. I appreciate that, man. Wow, you're actually talking to me about it. Joseph, I think you're talking about the First Amendment. Second Amendment is your right to bear arms. Your First Amendment right is your right to free speech. Is that what you meant to talk about? Let me know if you're talking about First Amendment. I just want to give a big shout out and a big thank you to Scott Smith and Luke Day. They're the only 2 people who are engaging me in this conversation right now. 2 people. This might be the problem, man. This might be the problem right here. You loved every second of it, Jonah? Oh, thank you. I hope you shared it around on Twitter, man. I hope you share that interview everywhere, bro. You know, but this could very well be the problem. You guys are just hard to engage sometimes, man. I don't know. I bring you Steph Zamorano. I bring you Graham Elwood. I bring you Ronnie Placone. I brought you Lee Camp. Right here to our smoke session. so we could all get high together and listen to what Lee Camp has to say. I'm just not feeling desired by anybody right now. You know, I just don't feel like you guys really want this. And it's too bad because it's really starting to take off, man. But the people that should be here supporting me right now, they're nowhere to be seen, man. You know, I knew this was going to happen, too. I predicted this a long time ago. I go, you guys watch. I said, when this show starts taking off, there's going to be a lot of you guys that are going to fall off. You're not going to like it because you're going to feel like you're not getting the personal attention, or you're actually rooting against me. And you enjoy watching me fail, and that's why you watch the show and come in here and act like you're my fucking friends. But, you know, when I do a show with Lee Camp, I promote it for a week. And, you know, 30 of you guys show up to the show. Do you want me mad at you? Do you want me to fucking hate you? Do you want me to stop doing my podcast? Because that's the message I'm getting. You know? I would love to see more support on y'all's behalf. I would love to be engaged in conversation during these shows. I would love it if, when I have a guest like Lee Camp on, you guys go out of your way to show up and be here for that show. It's a big deal for me. You know, and I always wanted, you know, my whole thing was I wanted to bring y'all with me. I wanted to bring y'all along. All the people that were there at the beginning, that helped me get to where I am today. You'll notice most of them are gone. Hey, if you're there from the very beginning of Trendy As Dabbers, press number 1. If you're there from the very beginning of Trendy As Dabbers, press number 1 right now. 10 years ago. Where are you at? I'll tell you, none of y'all. None of y'all. Nothing against the people who are here now. But it's everything against the people who were here in the beginning, supporting me from the very beginning. Jonah. How long have you been watching me for, Jonah? I understand. You know, this was an important show for me, though, Luke. This was the thing. This was the big one, and I tried to let everybody know how important it was. You know, go out of your way. 2 years, yeah. You're the new people, man. You are the new ones, and let me tell you something. You're way better than my original supporters could have ever hoped to be, all of you. And I'm going to say all of your names if you're here right now. Debbie, Shelly, Jonah, Luke, Steven, Kevin, Enoch, Eddie, Joseph, Scott, Jonah, Steven Running, Nick Russell, Mr. Johnson, Hippie Chick, Scott, Smith, Jonah, Luke, Joseph, David, Luke, Josh. Josh Vance. Good, man. That's nice. I'm glad I'm on your stereo, brother. Thank you for you made me smile, Josh. Thank you. I needed that. I just met a bit ago, but support since I was 16. Damn, Jonah. No shit. Been here 2 years and never intend on leaving. Wendy. Oh, Wendy. I've only been watching maybe 3 years. Right on. And let me tell you guys, you are the new salt of my earth. And all of the people that I used to call trendies, they weren't fucking trendy at all. They definitely weren't friendies. They knew where the show was headed because they knew I was driven. And they knew at some point it was going to get bigger and better, and that people from other podcasts that have more notoriety were going to come and be on the show. They knew it. I told them that we were going to do that. And I knew this was going to happen. I knew the very people that were pretending to be my friends from way back, they were not going to be here when the show started to really hit. And I'm thankful. I want you guys to know for all of my new friends and my new fans and my new audience members that have just been here for the last few years, or the last few months or weeks or whatever. I want you guys to know you are way more valuable to me than the people that claim to be my friends, but they make sure they never show up when I have a big show. Oh, and I notice. Oh, and I fucking notice. Oh, Nay's rosin pressing. Yeah, I'll click on that. Oh, Nay's got Lee Camp on. Yeah, I don't think so. It was, and knowing how important it was to me. This is your happy place, Wendy? Keep the wolves by your side? It's good advice. I'm just, I'm amazed at how pussy the people that I thought my audience were. I'm amazed at how pussy they fucking were. Well, fucking what a bunch of pussy motherfuckers. You know? You get fucking butt hurt. You know, and now that I'm treating people with respect, and now that I'm listening to all opinions, and now that I'm being nice, right? Good people are showing up. And maybe that's what it is. Maybe they're all just a bunch of fucking douchebags, and the only reason they were here was to witness the abuse that I doled out so often to people who sometimes didn't deserve it, and they were getting off on it. And now I don't do that so often. I don't know. Hey, man, I'm just throwing it out there. I have no idea what's going to fucking stick. We'll see what comes back. Curing a bitch. I just want to learn. Oh, curing is a bitch, Scott? Not really. It's not a bitch, man. You got to hang it. You got to dry it. Let it dry until it snaps. And as soon as it snaps, that's when you jar it up. And you just air it out. Get it where you want it. And if you get too dry, just put some wet paper towels in a closed container with the cannabis. The cannabis will suck the water back up into it. And then keep it sealed. All right? I like a dark closet. No law regarding cannabis. Cannabis is for all. Cyber style. Cheers, everybody. I would have loved to have stayed with Lee for 2 hours. And I think he would have stayed longer if I hadn't fucked my computer up. You know, I think he would have stayed longer because I think he was just starting to get into it and have fun. And I had so many important questions to ask him. And you guys would have gotten to know him so much better if I had been able to do that. Huh. Can't seem to get the chat in the right spot here. Oh, there it goes. There it is. I lost my touch. Oh, I'm sorry if I had the chat off, guys. That was from the earlier show. I just realized that. Great. Fantastic. Okay. Just in time, Zachary Poole. Cheers. Hey, Nay. Notification. Just came in. My mom seen me watching you one night before bed and jumped my ass for listening to profanity and watching someone smoke cannabis. Wow, Jonah, I didn't realize you were around all that time. Seriously, man, I had no idea. I thought you were one of the new people. But it's amazing how many of the trendy as dabbers trendies aren't here anymore. There's none of them are here on the show right now. You know? Who was it? Hippie Chick and Jonah? 2 people? I just had Lee Camp on today. You would think my friends would all want to come in and kind of celebrate, talk about, oh, you had Lee Camp on, bro. Fucking A. Pats on the back. Let's smoke some bong hits and talk about it, dude. Where are they all? They call those fair weather friends. But the weather was fair when I was down, when I'm sad, when I'm having a bad time, I guess. Oh, Shelly, thank you for all of that. Thank you so much. That's very nice of you. I tell you what, Shelly, I love it when someone talks to me on here. And you just, I love it when you guys converse with me. I thank you. I mean, I know it doesn't say, Graham Elwood answers your questions, but come on, guys, let's talk. Can you guys talk to me? Seriously. And I'm not just saying, I just want to hear the positive. I mean, let's have a conversation about anything. But talk. It's a podcast, man. It's supposed to be lively. I mean, I have a very hard time getting you guys to participate. What's up, Nate? It's Jonathan from Chicago. I'm here having trouble with my phone. Okay, Johnny. We see ya. Mike Mitchell. Hello, Mike Mitchell. That was years ago, though. Johnny, gotcha. Jake, how's it going? Hey, Jake, Worthley, Randy. Yes, how is your harvest of cannabis going? I'm still waiting, Randy. Thank you for asking. I've got this, and I'm waiting. I got to pull down the jack hair. But I did go out today, and I looked at the Alien Overlord, and while I was out there, I picked some fresh vegetables. I want to show you what I picked today. This came out of my garden today. There's a bunch of new zucchinis on the ground out there that'll be picked in a few days. Also, I wanted to share with you these beautiful tomatoes that I got. Look at these, guys. Look at this. Look at this tomato. Is that gorgeous? And look at these beautiful blood reds. These cherry tomatoes. And this is just a gorgeous tomato. Oh, and it's so firm. You guys, oh, it's almost like an apple. It feels like an apple. It does. It feels like an apple in my hand. What's going on in Kentucky, Jake? Tell me about it. I'm so glad you guys are talking to me now. Talk to me. Talk to me. She wept like gardeners do. We dab, dab with me. We dab like gardeners do. We dab, smoke with me. Bong hit, like bong hitters do. Bong hit. Do you remember Earth's Mahane? Hey, James. Great harvest. Randy. Zachary. Dr. Green Thumb. Mike. Nice tomatoes. I'm sorry, Nate. I didn't know it meant so much. I don't remember. I don't do mornings, but I would have. Huh? I don't know what that was all about. Those tomatoes look so right. Do you remember Earth Mother? Cheers. Lurch, cheers. Oh, it's quarter of the hour. Cannabism, tis for all. Cyber cheers, everybody. No longer gonna cannabis. My cousin Joseph! What's up, son? Joey, baby. No smoke today, bro. Top 5 favorite strains? I could do that. Jack Herer, Candy Kush, Cherry Pie, True Black, and this is a blast from the past. Only trendies are going to remember. Blue Sky Cotton Candy. Those are my top 5. Good question. Joe, yeah, let me tell you something, brother. It's crystal clear outside today, man. There's no smoke. I went out this morning. I was looking at the stars. Man, they're doing a good job. This is the most acres ever burned in the history of the state of California. It gets worse every year because we are experiencing abrupt climate change, and we're actually becoming extinct. We're losing habitat, you know? Mr. Johnson lost habitat, didn't you, Mr. Johnson? She is a victim. She is a victim of climate change. She was in paradise and lost her home. Let's see your harvested plants hanging. I can't smoke right now. I've been hurting my lungs. Just tinctures for me. True Black was one you created. No. Keith, I just came up with the name. Keith Brian Freeman Ice. Is Iceman here? Is Iceman here? Nice. Oh, yes. So, you can't come in here and tell Mr. Johnson that she didn't lose her freaking home due to climate change, and she literally had to migrate, which is exactly what I told you was going to happen. It's going to happen along the coasts. People are going to be migrating, and these fires, people are going to be migrating. Floods on the East Coast and in Louisiana, people are going to be migrating. You got to move. Your home vanishes, you have to leave. I can't believe a couple things. I can't believe Joe Rogan moved to Texas, okay? I can't believe that you guys, are you ready to fucking have a heart attack? Dr. Guy McPherson moved to Florida. On grid. Flood state. The entire state of Florida is like at 12 feet above sea level. It doesn't go up that. I think it goes up to 60 feet maybe or something like that. 60 feet above sea level. Do you realize that I am at 3,000 feet above sea level because I feel safe up here? Realize that. I wanted altitude. Yes, I've got my I'm fully off grid, Joe. I got my... Come on out, bro. Come on out. Come on out. Spend a week with me, homie. You wanna help me cut down my plants? I've got it's windy out there. I've got a well. I've got 96 solar panels. Where's the goddamn? Am I losing my mind? Dude, where's the goddamn? Does anybody know? Does anybody know where the goddamn is? Whoa, the goddamn just went goddamn on me. Don't you be like that. There it is. There's the goddamn. Dude, what is going on with the goddamn? There's the goddamn. Hey, check out the goddamn, everybody. Goddamn! 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 Oh, goddamn! 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 Oh, God! Damn! Goddamn! I've always heard that cannabis originated in Asia and in Africa. What he says, I don't really have a question, but maybe the topic. Literally translate to people of the house. Philip Meshiki. Mishiki. 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 Meshiki. Meshiki. What? It's Philip Meshiki. What? You can't say Philip Meshiki. What's wrong with you? Is that right? Meshiki? Meshike? Meshike? Meshiki? That's hard. I've never heard that name before. Heard that cannabis originated in Asia and Africa and wasn't native to North America, yet cannabis is represented on the Aztec calendar. Osmatli, the trickster monkey, is holding cannabis, aka Mali Nali, carved into the tablet. Also, Square Nation literally translates. Yeah, the Aztecs is pretty fucking old, bro. It dates cannabis dates. They've got amazing. I mean, not just something carved into a tablet, because that could have been fucking anything. But they've literally got physical evidence. Okay, Google. What is the oldest physical evidence of mankind using cannabis?
These are the top results.
2,500-year-old. God damn. This is from a 2019 article. Yeah, 2,500 years. Dude, this is all over the goddamn Smithsonian, Science Daily. This is amazing. It's all, I mean, take your pick. National Geographic. Let's go with National Geographic. They all say it. Traces of potent cannabis were identified in 2,500-year-old wooden artifacts buried with people who lived along the Silk Road in China. How funny is that? It's the fucking Silk Road. How funny is that? And there's a picture. And they burned cannabis plant. This was the device, guys, that they used to burn cannabis. And it looks like they had coals in it. And they get the coals hot, and then they burn the cannabis on the coals. Dude, are you fucking kidding me? They were fucking scientists, man. They were all over that shit. Where's Iceman? Those motherfuckers were ate up with cannabis. Most of South African cannabis is trash, Zachary. Mishike. Well, goddamn. Sorry to be late. Your interview with the camp today was awesome. Thank you. Hippie chick. Oh, you're welcome. So interesting. Interesting. Awesome. Thanks. Can you look up how old the Aztec calendar is? It's not physical evidence, Philip. Why don't you do that? You come back and let me know. I only go by physical evidence. You say you have some sort of a carving. That's not physical evidence. A picture of a monkey holding a plant. It could have just been a palm frond, It could just be someone's name. It could be anything. It's not evidence of cannabis. I'm always looking for physical evidence of everything. 2,500 years ago. Those plants are beautiful. Those whole things? Oh, these whole things right here? Look up there, man. That alien overlord See that one big bud's in the way here. Let me put, not this bud. No, I'm covering it up with my picture. Not that bud. But everything behind my picture, that plant, it's, man, I can't believe how much bud is on that plant. It is got giant colas from top to bottom, covered, and it smells like chocolate, like fresh, like a almost like a green chocolate, like a, almost like mixed with pine chocolate. That's what it kind of smells like. Am I gonna get an electric vehicle? No, probably not. What do you think of Elon's Cybertruck? I think it's a fucking big piece of shit, and he's a fucking joke. And I think Elon Musk is a laughing stock for people who are, I mean, look, no offense to Elon Musk, okay? Okay? But there, he ignores some pretty obvious basic shit. While he comes up with some cool shit, and I'll give him credit for the cool shit, the Tesla car, the vehicle, the battery, great, fantastic. His solar panel, great. I got nothing wrong with any of that shit. But when he starts talking about vacuum tunnels, underground vacuum tunnels, cars, you know the motherfucker, his head is in the stars. And there ain't no bringing someone like that back down to solid ground. He is beyond saving, that guy. He thinks we should colonize Mars. I mean, seriously, guys, he thinks we should colonize Mars. He's building rockets. So where the fuck are you going to send these rockets to, you fucking asshole? Where are you going to send these rockets to, you fucking moron? God, you're an idiot. It's just a matter of basic, really basic math. Look, I could explain it to an 11-year-old child, okay? You're the 11-year-old, and I'm going to explain it to you. Here we go. Elon Musk wants to build rockets so that we can go to planets in outer space that are way too far for humans to ever get to. Hello? One of those collection agencies calling for another person. And if you stay on the line, I've listened to it. It says, if you stay on the line, then you are admitting that you are, and it says the guy's name. I haven't had one of those calls in a while. It's kind of weird where it comes from a local number, you know, it comes from a different number. The rich are looking for a way to escape climate collapse. Sure, Mary, you know, they're looking for an escape, but you've got to exercise some common sense. Look, everything that we need to survive as a race is on this planet. Okay? If Elon Musk had spent all the time and all the energy and all the money and used all the people that he used on the underground tunnel bullshit and on the going to Mars and the rockets bullshit, that's three things. All three of those things. If he'd taken all those resources and instead been smart and looked at the planet and said, hey, we're already here. We just have to fix this planet. We may have already come up with the solution. Now, if you think I'm right and that Elon Musk is an idiot for building rockets, talking about colonizing Mars, and building tunnels underground, and that I am literally thinking more clearly than Elon Musk, press number 1. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Am I making more sense than Elon Musk on those three topics? Building rockets, going to Mars, building tunnels underground. for vacuum tubes for cars. Who's making more sense? If it's me, press number 1. Hey, BJ Butts is here. What's up, BJ? You never come to my show anymore. Hey, J-Bone, 420. Mary, Jonah. Robin. Can I get some more ones? Who's making more sense here? You guys think I'm crazy? You know, people realize, you're like, man, that guy just made more sense than Elon Musk did. And then, like I said, not to take away from Elon Musk's legitimate accomplishments. He's accomplished some fantastic shit. Joe, you're no relative of mine. You press number 2. Bro, look at all of the bro, you think underground vacuum tubes make sense? Okay. I'm going to introduce you to someone named Thunderfoot, okay? Okay. You think Joe, I love this guy. He's my cousin. You know, he's my cousin. I love him. Joe, you think that we could colonize Mars or we should try to fix Earth? Okay. I'm going to ask everyone, including Joe. All right, everybody. If you think that we should stay on this planet and try to fix it, or that we should try to go colonize Mars, okay? If you think that we should stay on this planet as opposed to trying to colonize Mars, okay? Press number 1. We're going to do this one at a time, Joe. And Joe, you're included. Do you think we should try to fix Earth, Joe, or do you think we should try to spend our resources and go to Mars, Joe? Do you think we should go to Mars, Joe? Okay, so Joe's pressing number 1. All right. Let's move on. I know. Let's move on to the second thing. We're going to move on to the second thing. How much money is, because of the Mars thing, all right? Number 2, how much money and effort and energy is he putting in rockets that take off and then land like this back on Earth? What good is that, Joe, if we're not going to be taking those rockets to Mars, because you and I just had a level-headed discussion and realized that going to Mars is a waste of time and money. So on the second count, Joe, is building the rockets a waste of time and money if we're not going to go to Mars, if we're going to colonize this, if we're going to stay on Earth, we're not going to colonize that planet, we're going to stay here on this planet, and we're going to try to fix it. What good is the rockets doing? What are the rockets doing? We can land it, we can take off, and we can land it back down like this. We saved the rocket, and that's great. We brought it back down. We took off. What a feat. The rocket, it took off, and now it comes back down to Earth. It comes down to Earth. It comes back. It goes out to outer space. It's in outer space. And then it comes back to Earth. And it floats down, and then let me tell you what these rockets do, okay? Okay, friends? These rockets are capable of much more than just vertical, horizontal, automatic takeoff and recovery, okay? These rockets are equipped with interdimensional transport devices. We have been beaming people like Tom Cruise to the other dimensions, where these aliens have been sucking their thoughts like giant blowjobs in the sky. And let me tell you something, I snorted half a line of Super Male Vitality this morning and I was thinking about it. These teleportation devices are now sitting on the moon, on the dark side of the moon. You can't see it because the moon rotates at a much slower interval than the Earth does. So you cannot see that side of the moon. But on that side of the moon, it has been completely colonized by interdimensional, shape-shifting, reptilian, blood-sucking aliens that are funded by the North Koreans and in conjunction with the Chinese, and now the Russians are involved. And let me tell you something, fellow patriots and Americans, we are screwed. I mean, if you think that the people that are out marching in the street right now have a reason to march, just wait until next week. And then, do I believe the Earth is beyond repairable? Yeah, and Joe, not only do I believe the Earth is beyond repairable, but it doesn't mean that someone isn't being born right now who's going to solve our climate issue, right? So It's possible that someone, a genius, someone like Elon Musk, you know, or someone who thinks outside the box could solve climate, but they're not going to do it building rockets and trying to colonize Mars or fucking put tubes underground. Vacuum sealed tubes for fucking transport. What with what you've researched and heard from Guy McPherson? Yeah, bro, it's not looking good. You know, if we were betting on it, Joe, my odds would be 99% to 1 that we won't repair the planet. I mean, we can't even stop the fucking fires, Joe. We can't even put fires out. If we just can't put basic fires out, how are we going to stop fucking climate change? And that's just basic shit, right? It's a fire, you put it out. But for some reason, we're confused about that. We don't know how to detect those fires any earlier. We'd rather put resources in launching rockets, colonizing Mars, and putting tunnels underground than figuring out a faster way to put out these fucking fires. Why can't we get Elon Musk working on putting the fucking fires out? Well, he's got your head spun, brother. He's got your head spun. All right? There's nothing wrong with his solar shit. There's nothing wrong with his batteries. There's the fucking Tesla car is fantastic. You know, our cousin's got a couple, right? I've driven one before. They're amazing vehicles. Let's fix the fucking planet. You know, let's not worry about this bullshit. There's no place to go. We can't colonize Mars. We're not going to live anywhere else. There's no resources. There's no organisms to eat anywhere else except right here. What are you thinking, Joe? What are you thinking? You know? And you want to talk about the third thing now, okay? We only mentioned 3 things that are reason enough to fucking just ignore Elon Musk, okay? And start looking at other people. That's the vacuum tubes he wants to put underground to put cars through. And, you know, I would bore my audience to death if I pulled up that Thunderfoot video and showed it right now. So I'm just going to tell you, Thunderfoot debunked it. He's on YouTube. It's Thunderfoot with 2 zeros instead of 2 O's in the word foot. One word, Thunderfoot, but with 2 zeros. Seek him out on YouTube. Type in his name. Go subscribe to his channel. And then once you're on his channel, you can go to the little search thing and type in Elon Musk tunnel or tube. Elon Musk tube. And he's debunked it. He's debunked those fucking vacuum tubes so bad, bro. Joe, your grandkids. Oh, Joey, Joe. This is the problem, everybody. This is the problem. Look at my wonderful cousin, Joe. I love you so much, bro, but you just proved one of the points that I talk about on this channel all the time. And that is people that are having kids, that want to have grandkids, right? People like you, your vision is a little clouded because you see a future with those people in it. And so you're not willing to really look at what's really happening right now, like these fires. And that's really all I got to talk about are these fires, bro. These fires are so bad. They're doing so much damage. Right, Philip. I understand that. Like I said, it's not physical evidence, just a carving. You know, it doesn't prove that people are using cannabis. And it wouldn't surprise me if people were using cannabis from since before they were humans. You know, when we were still transforming from monkeys into human beings, I'm sure that plant was in all the places where people were thriving, or these animals were thriving, because cannabis likes the same temperatures, it likes the same weather, you know, and it thrives in the exact same places where humans thrive. So, I mean, it's just, I would think cannabis has been around forever. I mean, we're talking about something totally different right now, bro. You're being, like, you're just totally ignoring the conversation. I mean, my cousin came in here. I'm having a legit conversation with him for the past half hour, and then you chime in with that shit? Come on, man. I want you to talk. I do, but I don't want you to try to change the fucking subject. Anyhow, so you're in a vacuum tube and you're going to travel from Sacramento to San Francisco, let's just say, or LA to San Francisco. That's probably more legit. And the vehicle that you're in fails and you're in a vacuum tube. Say there's a crack. Say there's a malfunction. You have no access to oxygen. You're in a vacuum tube. A sealed vacuum tube. You would have to be a fucking idiot to think that that is a legitimate way to transport people. And that's not even the real issue. The real issue is the tube itself, not the fucking cars inside. Yeah, you have a vehicle inside a tube and something goes wrong with that vehicle, you're dead. Instantly, you're going to die. You're not getting out of there. Number two, that ain't it. Number two, it's the tube. It's the tube. How many sections of tubes are you going to put underground? Okay, isn't California subject to earthquakes? Joe, isn't California subject to earthquakes? Yeah, planes crash because we use them because they work, Joe. We use them because they actually work. You know, the sky doesn't rust and crack apart and get holes in it, or the sky's not subject to earthquakes. Do you understand that? And in really bad weather, you don't have to get on a plane. But let's just say you're traveling, you know, from LA to San Francisco, whatever, you're coming to visit me, and crack, there's an earthquake. How the fuck are you going to get out of there? Are you going to even live? You're in a vacuum tube. You're going to put tunnels underground big enough, right, to put a car through, when fracking, which uses pipes that are this big, are causing earthquakes all over the state and all over the world, bro. Do you even understand what, when you're drilling holes like that underground, what that does to the ground? Think, bro. I'm just telling you to think. This motherfucker's got you spun. Elon Musk's got my cousin spun up. And it's fucking crazy. Dude, I know meth heads who reason way better than you do. You haven't thought this out at all, man. I gotta show you just a little bit of Thunderfoot. You have to see it. Dude, he doesn't even talk about the same shit that I talk about. He just blows the shit out of the water. I'm going to type it in, Thunderfoot F00T tunnel. Okay? Thunderfoot tunnel, right? Elon Musk's amazing new boring tunnel opens. This is from a year ago. Elon Musk literally reinvents the tunnel. Thunderfoot at the $12 million Hyperloop. 3 years ago. That's from 3 years ago. The Hyperloop busted from 4 years ago. And then he revisits it 1 year ago. Okay, so I'm going to take you to his I want to take you to his 4-year-old Hyperloop, 3 years old. Entire Hyperloop could be destroyed in seconds. Elon Musk promises dollar rides in LA transit tunnels. Busted. All right, I'm going to do the 4-year-old one. All right, let's do the 4-year-old one. We'll go back real far, and then we'll come revisit it, okay? I love this guy, Thunderfoot. You're going to love him, too. You need to be watching him and not Elon Musk, that's for sure. If you want to watch someone who's actually intelligent, someone who's got a way better way to reason, just basic shit.
I have a name for it, which is called the Hyperloop.
The Hyperloop?
Hyperloop, yeah.
The system is proposed to travel at an average speed of 900 kilometers an hour and at a top speed of 1,220 kilometers an hour.
It's very similar to an airplane on high altitudes. You have a low pressure environment inside the tube, a capsule that doesn't touch anywhere, hovers, and then because of the low pressure doesn't encounter a lot of resistance.
It's also a lot faster. You can basically get from downtown LA to downtown San Francisco in 30 minutes. It's also extremely energy efficient due to solar power utilization. In fact, the Hyperloop could generate more power than it...
Dude, you just bought a Tesla? Holy shit, man. What kind of a Tesla did you get? They're so nice. Dude, that's one thing you can't talk shit about. You cannot talk shit about a fucking Tesla, bro. I drove one. I put a video up on it on YouTube a long time ago. Me driving the Tesla. And I told everyone, I'm like, dude, this car is unlike anything you have ever seen in your entire life. It's an amazing, amazing invention. He should spend more time perfecting those so less people fucking burn up in them, you know?
Consumes as a closed system.
Because you generate more power than you consume in the system.
It's also much cheaper to build. It's about 1/10 the cost of the proposed California high-speed railway system. This means that tickets could cost as little as $25.
No, you didn't get the truck, did you? No. Why would you get that fucking piece of shit? Oh my God. What? Oh, here comes delivery. I'm getting a delivery. I wonder if it's something for the Roxer, man. I'm so excited. Delivery, yeah.
1,000 kilometers per hour in a vacuum tube for less than the construction costs of what is currently proposed for the high-speed rail connection. It will generate more power than it uses by solar panels, and a ticket will only cost about $20. Yeah, and it's complete bullshit. Now sure, the principle is fine. It's just not viable in practice. You know, it's like the solar roadways thing. It sounds great, but in reality, it's just bullshit made up by snake oil salesmen. Or the mindlessly optimistic daydreaming of those who just don't want that bitter taste of reality. The first real challenge is simply the near impossible goal of building a 600-kilometer long vacuum chamber. I mean, even in the smaller version of the Hyperloop, which I could only just about stand up in, so it's about 2 meters in diameter, which has a cross-section of about 3 meters squared, and if it's 600 kilometers long, that's 600,000 meters long, that means that the volume will be about 2 million cubic meters. So let's compare that to the world's largest vacuum chamber, shall we? Which is about 1/50th of the volume.
This is NASA's Space Power Facility near Cleveland, Ohio, and it is the world's biggest vacuum chamber. It's used to test spacecraft in the conditions of outer space.
Yeah, that's the vacuum chamber that NASA uses to test their spacecraft in, and it's 50 times smaller than the smaller version of the Hyperloop.
It's used to test spacecraft in the conditions of outer space, and it does that by pumping out the 30 tons of air in this chamber until there are about 2 grams left.
Now, there's a problem with making vacuum chambers that size, and the first is they need to be quite heavy in construction.
Aluminium is not the best thing, the strongest material to build a vacuum chamber out of. So they built out
My winch!
concrete
Got my
slip
winch for the
so
Roxer.
this thing can take the force that's present on the outside when it's pumped out to the conditions of outer space.
Because there's a lot of atmosphere pushing on the outside, about 10 tons per square meter. So to help you visualize it, here I have a square meter. So atmospheric pressure is equal to about 10 meters of water. So that's like 10 times this distance here. So if I were to put 10 meters on top of my 1 square meter, a cubic meter of water weighs about a ton. So 10 cubic meters pushing down on 1 square meter would give you a pressure of 10 tons pushing down on this square meter, because there's a lot of atmosphere pushing on the outside, about 10 tons per square meter, and there is absolutely nothing pushing on the inside because it's a vacuum. And it also has to take the vibrational force of a 15-ton capsule going through it at nearly the speed of sound. So the walls are about 2 centimeters thick, about an inch or so. Cool, so we can now do the calculations for just the steel required to make only the tube in this structure. And it turns out to be about the same mass as the steel in the World Trade Center, which, to be fair, was a ginormous building. Cool, so that would get us the steel to make the tube. Then comes the first real problem, which is expansion. Most people know that if you just have, say, bridges, you need an expansion joint in them. So let's take a look at the expansion for steel. It's about 13 parts per million per degree Celsius. So let's say the temperature range is going to be between freezing point and 40 degrees Celsius. That's basically a hot day, which means the overall length of this tube is going to vary by about 500 parts per million and that sort of thing, which means that the overall length of the Hyperloop from the coldest day to the hottest day will vary by about 300 meters, about the length of 3 football fields. Clearly, expansion joints are necessary. Well, that would be easier if you're looking at the expansion joints on a bridge. Not so much if they're an expansion joint for a vacuum tube, because it's got to hold that vacuum almost perfectly whilst it's changing its length. So let's give them something reasonable, like a 100-meter segment of tubing. So the expansion difference between say a hot day and a cold day there would be about 50 millimeters, a couple of inches. So you would need a joint about every 1/10 of a kilometer, such that in the 600-kilometer Hyperloop, you would need about 6,000 moving part vacuum seals, and a failure on any one of them could be disastrous for the people inside the Hyperloop. And this is, of course, assuming 100-meter segments of tubing. Their current segments look to be more like 10 meters or so, which would mean they would need 60,000 moving part vacuum seals on a 2-meter diameter tube. I mean, the only thing even remotely comparable in the world is the Large Hadron Collider, which is, I don't know, maybe 50 kilometers or so of tubing, albeit underground, so they're more or less a constant temperature, so they really don't have these expansion problems. And even at that, it's 1/100th of the volume of the Hyperloop, and it doesn't have a 15-ton capsule going through it. And while it does have a large number of seals to it, for the large part, they won't be moving part seals. They'll just be static seals that all you have to do is tighten up the bolts and you're done. So how do they address this in their white paper, which is the go-to documentation for the Hyperloop? A telescopic tube similar to the boxy ones used to access airplanes at airports would be needed at the end station to address the cumulative length change of the tube. Now that just blew my mind,
An
because that really
appendage.
does sound like they just intend to weld all of the tubes together. That is, they haven't done even the simplest expansion calculations. Now sure,
And that-
welded tubes...
That's the problem with most of the things that Thunderfoot debunks is, you know, everyone has these wild, crazy ideas, but they don't understand all the science behind it. So he investigates it, and he understands the science behind it, and then he explains it to you with graphics and videos that he puts together so that you guys can really get an understanding of why Elon Musk is a fucking idiot for thinking we could put vacuum tubes underground. Don't let him spin you like he spun my cousin, please.
Would be great for holding the vacuum, but it does mean that your station's going to have to move by about 3 football pitches between the hottest and coldest day.
This station is probably the most compact station, and it really, the entire activity actually happens almost here. This is more still of a lounge shopping area.
It's where you get your magazines,
Yes.
your coffee.
But still everything happens on
I'm
the
gonna
go.
speed it up.
Not to mention how you expect the support pylons to hold all of this up and account for that movement. Plus, if you're just going to weld all of these tubes together, you're going to get massive buckling problems. Painted white or not, in the hard Californian sun, the top of these things will get hotter than the bottom. That is, the top will expand more than the bottom. And with a 500-mile long tube, you're going to get massive buckling problems of the sort that you would get on a bimetallic strip.
The brass should expand more than the steel, so the high metallic strip should bend toward the steel side.
Your alternative, which probably has a better chance of working, is the 6,000 vacuum seals, although I've got to be honest, vacuum seals on a 2-meter diameter tube, speaking as someone who has decades of experience working with vacuums, I really don't rate your chances of that either.
Did you hear what he just said? He has decades of experience working with vacuum chambers. Does Elon Musk? Zero. He's got zero.
So why is this thing running in vacuum anyway? Well, that's easy. You cut down on the air resistance, and this is the main reason why airplanes fly so high. It's because the atmosphere...
Top of the hour,
is
no
thinner
longer
the
got any
higher you
cannabis.
get. There's
Cannabis
less
is a
air
for all.
resistance.
Cheers.
However, there is a compromise that your engines need that air to burn the fuel and create thrust. So you can't go too high, otherwise your engines run out of oxygen. However, there's another problem. People also need air to live. So if there's any rupture in the Hyperloop capsule for any reason whatsoever, you will die in the Hyperloop in pretty much exactly the same way that you would die in deep space.
You know, it's at times like this, when I'm stuck in a Vogon airlock with a man from Beetlejuice about to die of asphyxiation in deep space, that I really wish I'd listened to what my mother told me when I was young.
Why would she tell you?
I don't know, I didn't listen.
And of course, people won't be able to hear you call for help, because, as Alien informed us, in space, no one can hear you scream. And that's essentially
There you
what
go.
the Hyperloop is doing. It's
There you
bringing
go.
all of the impracticalities of space travel down to the surface of the Earth and putting them inside a capsule traveling at about the speed of sound in a giant gun barrel. So another one of the key problems is what happens when something goes wrong. If you're traveling at about 1,000 kilometers per hour, the speed of sound in a capsule within centimeters, an inch or so of a tube, the velocity of the capsule is about that of a bullet fired from a gun, except it's a 15-ton bullet. Any failure whatsoever will rip through that 2-centimeter outer tube like candy. Now, sure, anyone in that capsule will die pretty much instantly in the event of a crash. But then again, a car crash at 50 miles an hour will probably do that for you. The problem then comes that a single breach in the Hyperloop will probably kill everyone else in the Hyperloop. You see, once you've breached the outside tube, air will rush into the tube at about the speed of sound. Roughly, this is how it works. The speed of sound is mostly determined by how quickly air molecules can actually knock into each other, which is basically how quickly the molecules are going. When they're moving into a vacuum, of course, there's nothing to stop them. So the air rushes into the vacuum basically at the speed of sound. And yeah, that will destroy any capsule it hits and probably cause a cascade failure. I mean, ballpark numbers. There's a vacuum inside the tube, so the gas...
Fucking A, Jimmy Doors Live. Thank you so much for telling me that. All right. Jimmy Dore is one of the excused podcasters that you guys can let me know when he goes live, of course. I want to know when Jimmy Dore goes live. I don't see him on my... Of course, he's not being... I don't see him live. Am I not following him on this channel? It's probably not following him on this channel. But I will be in a second. Subscribe. Notifications, all. Okay, where is the live Biden Blast Bernie at Jimmy Dore's live? Jimmy Dore's live. Whoa, we're gonna be super chatting Jimmy Dore. Jimmy Dore, we got a super chat Jimmy Dore. We got a super chat Jimmy Dore. Hey, hey, what do you know? What do you say? We're gonna send a super chat today. That's what I gotta say. I like this song. I want to take my guitar out and jam to it, man. What? Jamming to my guitar. Gonna go grab it off the wall. So, make music for all, yeah. Gonna have some fun watching Jimmy Dore. You can't ignore this. We're gonna have fun getting down with Jimmy Dore and Steph. Gotta change my account. It's a good thing I added them all earlier, so I can do it right now. Gonna change my account so I can super chat. Super chat with Jimmy Dore and Steph. Gonna do it now. Gotta grab my guitar and play over this song. Super chatting along. Super chat, hitting my bong. What? I love Jimmy Dore. Gonna say it some more. Buying and sending and saying never ending. Yeah. Jimmy Dore, and Steph, and Brownie too, and Brownie too, and Brownie too. They're gonna be live in 15 minutes on Jimmy Dore Show. I think it's time that we hit Jimmy up and say, hey, come to the garden, you know. Come to the garden, you know. Come to the garden, you know. I could just rock my guitar over this shit. All right, I was having fun with that. I was having too much fun with that. I think I was having too much fun with that. I was having way too much fun with that shit. Okay, so, yeah, they're gonna be live in 15. I'm excited. Oh my God, I love fucking the Jimmy Dore Show. And I love when we catch him before he goes live. We get to see the whole show. What?
Rushing into it is a pressure differential of 1 atmosphere. So what's it like getting hit by a pressure differential of 1 atmosphere? Well, let's take a look at it this way. Atmospheric pressure is about 10 tons per meter squared, about the size of a reasonable truck. And that 1 atmosphere pressure wave coming...
Only, Joseph, only because you stayed and listened to what I had to say, bro, I'm going to jam for you. Here. I don't know how long that song goes for. They're probably going to change it up right when I get my guitar warmed up. I'll just jam for a second, though, because I want to go back to these videos. I want to go back to Thunderfoot, and I want to go to a more recent, thing, you know? They changed it. I can't jam to that. I want to play the other one. This one is lame. Let's see what this one sounds like. Maybe he'll give me a good song. I gotta get the key. I gotta figure out what key the song's in. Wow, it's in the key of F. I never jam in F. Guitar playing was a little better, just a little better. You guys are all being so quiet. Y'all digging it? You guys like? Press number 1 if you like the music. Press number 1. F, huh? That's the key of F. They put these all over the place. This one is in A flat, G sharp. I don't even know what you call it. It's an interesting little Here, let's do something different. Here, what's this? Okay, so what I'd say G sharp. They're just going back. Totally out of the mode of the song just to see what it would sound like. Is that the end? Oh my god, that sucked. That was over so fast. This guy rock. A little quirky. It's a little quirky. But then the rhythm's quirky as fuck too. Man, I would have loved to have jammed over that first track. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. I could rock over this. Okay, because it's a very useless vehicle. It's the way that truck is designed. Now I own I own a truck. It's a 2500, okay? It's a Chevy. I own my Escalade. That's even that. It's only 2-wheel drive. But that thing has way more passenger room, way more storage capacity in it. Okay? And I've got my little Jeep now. I got this little Roxor. And even that thing does more than that fucking piece of shit brick with fucking tires on does. Oh, is it time to smoke? It must be time to smoke, man. I'm getting notifications from people. I'm getting notified it's 420. I'm getting notified it's 420. I want to smoke, and I hope you brought plenty. Okay. It's okay. That number 2. It's ugly. Okay, it looks like fucking shit came out of fucking rat's asshole. That's what that truck looks like. It literally looks like shit. It's not even attractive looking, you know? it basically sums up everything that Elon Musk is in just one product. A worthless fucking piece of shit. You're gonna let me drive it? All right, man. I can't wait. I can be bought so easy. I'm so phony. You drive that motherfucker up here, brother. I can't wait. Is it 4-wheel drive? It's 4-wheel drive, right? All-wheel drive? You think it looks cool? I figured you'd like it. I figured you like the look. Joe, you realize, I hope you realize I hope you realize I'm fucking with you all the time. I mean, I really hate that truck, but I'm really happy for you, man, that you got that. I am, and I'd love for you to bring it up here, and I would love to drive it. In all reality, you know? Could totally change my opinion of that vehicle if I drove it. And then I might come on my show and go, dude, my cousin's truck is the biggest piece of shit I have ever driven in my life. It is worthless. It does nothing. It doesn't even look good. I can't wait for that day. My dog's over here. He's recovering from food poisoning. My poor dog, man. You guys, I can't wait for Jimmy Dore to go live. I just realized we could have been watching Thunderfoot some more while we're waiting.
Down the tube towards you is coming towards you at about the speed of sound.
I'll keep my eye on Jimmy Dore.
Here is that air, gas, is pretty compressed.
I got the volume up on Jimmy Dore
show. Expect it to kill pretty much anything it hits. I mean, you get a rough idea of what a 1 atmosphere pressure wave will do from some nuke benchmarking tests.
Blasts from airbursts where overpressure exceeds 10 psi can cause substantial damage to destroyer-type ships. Above 14 psi, it could even result in hull rupture, flooding, and sinking. The shock imparted by blast to the superstructure can damage or carry away equipment. At greater distances, overpressure above 6 psi can distort, rupture, and carry away light structures and equipment. Interior equipment and compartments may be damaged by the blast, collapsing deck structures or bulkheads. Overpressure entering through openings.
Could you imagine being in there when that happens? Not expecting it?
Blast injuries to exposed personnel, represented by this dummy, is usually severe over 3 psi. Here it was 6 psi.
Well, one of the methods by which they're going to power this is by a giant turbine on the front of the capsule, which is great, apart from they're running in a near-perfect vacuum, which means that engine will have to spin astronomically fast, faster than it would if it was a terrestrial engine designed to run in our thick atmosphere.
The engine is roaring along at full throttle.
Happy 420, no law regarding cannabis. Cannabis is for all. Cheers, everybody.
The centrifugal force at the tip of each blade is equivalent to the weight of a 110-ton locomotive.
I mean, damn, our plane engines, which are designed to run at about 30,000 feet, about 10 kilometers, run on about 1/5 of an atmosphere of pressure. That's 200 times higher than the pressure in the Hyperloop. Now, in the Hyperloop, of course, you have 200 times less pressure than that, which is great. That means you get 200 times less drag on your capsule. The downside, of course, is that your turbine will produce 200 times less thrust by actually spinning in that atmosphere than if it was a turbine spinning at about the altitude that a cruising jet flies at. Now, there's a problem with big objects spinning that fast. That's that they tend to structurally fail just from the G-forces alone. But even if they don't, objects spinning that fast contain a lot of energy.
Big O up to full speed now, takes 6 seconds, and Big O is there, and deadly when he is.
Now, that's not a problem as long as your bearings are good and everything is balanced.
So you can see, he's not fully balanced.
However, if everything is not balanced, if, say, for instance, there's a pocket of high-pressure air because someone shot a few holes in the Hyperloop, then the turbine is all of a sudden going from running at 1/1000th of an atmosphere to hitting a pocket of air at 1/10th of an atmosphere. That is going to have 100 times the force acting on it, which is the sort of thing that causes blade failure. So let's imagine a tube failure. Now, it's expected that that will also break any power connections that the vehicle has, so it's now only got its batteries. Well, what about the people trapped inside this 600-kilometer-long steel tube? Well, there's a wall of air travelling down towards them at about the speed of sound, essentially a shockwave, and it'll kill everyone in the capsule when it hits them. The only option is to put on the brakes, the emergency brakes. Now, of course, you have to hope that the emergency brakes are good enough and the capsule's strong enough to survive being hit by that 1 atmosphere pressure wave. And honestly, I've got my doubts about that, because these capsules are designed to run at 1/1000th of an atmosphere. I have limited faith of them being structurally strong enough to survive being hit by a 1 atmosphere pressure wave, travelling at about the speed of sound. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, that you survive. You are now trapped inside a 600-kilometer tube in a sealed capsule, which you cannot get out of. And when the air in that capsule runs out, or more specifically, when the carbon dioxide builds up enough, you're going to die. And how are you going to rescue people inside a 600-kilometer long metal tube? Look, the whole thrust system relies on being able to get decent compression off a gas which is almost at space-type pressures, 1,000th of an atmosphere. I mean, hell, thrust here is basically provided by a turbomolecular pump, because that's almost the only sort of thing that's going to be able to compress gas that's essentially space. I mean, it's a neat idea, except those things are typically fairly small and run at 20,000 RPM. That's spinning 10 times faster than the turbine blades on a plane.
The engine is roaring along at full throttle. The blades spin at almost 3,000 revolutions per minute.
I mean, blades here won't display 100 tons per piece.
The centrifugal force at the tip of each blade is equivalent to the weight of a 110-ton locomotive.
It'll be more like 1,000 tons. Yeah, which is probably one of the reasons why you don't find large-scale turbomolecular pumps. And
Bottom of the
even if you
hour,
could,
cheers.
It's doubtful if they would fail safe if a loose object just got thrown up from the track or someone just shot some holes in the Hyperloop or something. I mean, the whole thing is just mind-blowing.
Jimmy Dore's still not live yet.
Here, going through the tunnel at basically the speed of sound. If they get hit by any loose object, that's essentially the equivalent of the static capsule being shot with a gun. And what happens in the event of a catastrophic decompression? Oh, they're just going to repressurize the whole tube. Really, it's just that easy. You're going to let 2,000 tons of air into the tube before anyone succumbs to the effect of being subjected to a vacuum that is basically the equivalent of space. And that's to say nothing of the emergency deceleration problems. You know, you're traveling at almost the speed of sound. You repressurize the tube, you'll be likely pulling re-entry type G-forces. So what? There's going to be tens of thousands of large-scale vents along the whole length of the tube for an emergency repressurization. Thousands more things that can go wrong with this system.
The Hyperloop's biggest problem? Making tube travel comfortable. So this is kind of like the Hyperloop think tank design center right now.
Then, of course, once it's all repressurized, all these 15-ton capsules will be able to drive themselves on regular wheels to an emergency exit.
What are these models over here?
So we have two sets of models. The first ones here at the back, they were really study models that were investigating. These are more of a finished product that investigate more of the interior situation and also the seating.
So these are all the options of the capsules.
Well, what does that emergency exit look like? Well, no one really knows, because they've not even mastered the relatively simple stuff, like, say, for instance, constructing a 600-kilometer-long vacuum pipeline. I mean, sure, the Hyperloop's a great idea, just as long as you ignore all the practicalities of actually building it. I mean, just look, in the event of a large-scale tube failure, let's just say they have an emergency stop on one of the capsules. They're saying that they're getting a capsule leaving every 2 minutes on a 30-minute trip. So there's going to be about 15 capsules in the whole length of the tube. That's a capsule about every 40 kilometers or so. Now imagine one of these capsules ruptures the outside tube. By the time the shockwave reaches the next capsule, it'll be a column of air of about 40 kilometers in length. It'll be moving at about the speed of sound, and that column of air will weigh about 100 tons. And it's going to be hitting a capsule that weighs 15 tons. I mean, when I did my vacuum breach experiment, my metal ball had a much higher mass than the air entering the tube. This is going to be our mini 100th scale Hyperloop, and there's a little metal ball in there. So we can actually zoom in on a little metal ball. Okay, so there's a little metal ball in my mini Hyperloop. So this is what it looks like filmed at 1,000 frames per second, and as you can see, there's really quite a formidable acceleration there. And bear in mind, this is a tiny diameter tube over a short distance, about half a meter. The air had about 1/100th of the mass of the ball it was pushing, and this was the effect. I mean, what you would be likely getting in the actual Hyperloop is something more along the lines of the Mythbusters experiment, where the air filling the vacuum tube had a mass much larger than the object it was pushing, a ping pong ball in this case.
So now we're pumping it down. 3, 2, 1. Whoa! But more importantly, let's take a peek at the can. This wonderful hole is now... so this hit it with 500 miles an hour coming out of this.
And yet they managed to fire that ping pong ball at almost the speed of sound, which is more or less what you would expect to happen to these capsules in the event of a large-scale tube failure. You see, with planes, you can make many of the same arguments. However, if the plane's hull is breached, first of all, you're only at 0.2 of an atmosphere, and on top of that, there is an emergency air supply, which will allow the pilot to fly down to more breathable altitudes. Well, if an engine fails, he still has others to fly at. And if there is vibrations or turbulence of some sort, it's not a big deal, because there's a lot of space to fly into. It's not like if he goes off course by a couple of centimeters or an inch or something that it will destroy the plane and kill everyone on it, and destroy every other plane flying that route. You see, planes over the years have been designed such that a single point failure is not catastrophic. Planes, of course, cost a lot of money, but they're fairly easy defensible vehicles. Now, when they're near to the ground, of course, they can be shot at. But once in the air, they very quickly go beyond the range of all but the high-end military weapons. That's something that's simply not the case with the Hyperloop. It's 600 kilometers long, and it runs down the middle of a freeway. It's indefensible. Any crazy with an anti-material rifle could shoot holes in the tube, something which would probably be fatal to almost the whole system. But maybe most importantly, one plane crash does not destroy the entire infrastructure and kill everyone else flying the same route. Look, the whole deal with the Hyperloop is it's only really efficient over shorter distances.
Just as a side note, for distances longer than that, it's actually more economically viable to use a supersonic jet.
That is where you can get on and off it quickly. You know, so it's one of those things, you don't have all of that long security at airports. But once you get beyond about 500 kilometers, it becomes much more efficient to fly because planes don't require $10 million per mile tube to run it. However, in reality, the destruction of a single 15-ton capsule travelling at about 1,000 kilometers per hour in the tube would rupture the tube and likely be fatal to everyone else in the Hyperloop. Practically, what this means is you'll probably need as much security for Hyperloop travel as you would for air travel.
It's also a lot faster. You can basically get from downtown LA to downtown San Francisco in 30 minutes.
Which in reality means there will probably be no more time advantages for using the Hyperloop over flying. Add to this that most folks seem to have forgotten a zero off the end of their budget. You know, they're estimating it's going to cost, I don't know, $6 billion or something.
It's also much cheaper to build. It's about 1/10 the cost of the proposed California high-speed railway system.
Berkeley guy reckons 100 billion, which is comparable to the cost of a maglev railway of comparable length that they are currently building in Japan. Which, sure, it only goes about half the speed of a Hyperloop. But
Scott, did you come over from the Jimmy Dore show? Just so y'all know, I just snorted half a line of Super Male Vitality in my bathroom. And when I came out of there, I noticed that the young turds, the flung turds, were alive as well. Of course, none of you give a fuck about the flung turds. I was just mentioning that.
then again, it doesn't have all the disadvantages of space travel in a gun barrel. And their reckoning of recovering the Hyperloop infrastructure cost in about 20 years assumed there were no running costs, no maintenance, no infrastructure, inspection, repair, or energy costs. So let's just maybe be a little more realistic here and say that their $25
cool, Scott. Welcome to the show.
becomes something a little more plausible, like $250, and their 30-minute journey time, what with getting to the actual station and getting through security, becomes something more sensible, like, I don't know, 1.5 hours. In reality, it's probably going to cost about as much as a plane ticket. It's going to take about as long as a plane journey.
Do you feel like you're working on a project that's really going to change the future?
Oh, absolutely. If I have a date and I want to see the opera in San Francisco, I can literally do that and be back in time to go to sleep at my own house.
Plus the added advantage of enjoying all the dangers of space travel in the Californian desert. So yeah, the hype of the Hyperloop, of which there is plenty, even if you ignore all the scandalous stuff about tripling the pay of a PR executive to almost $500,000 per year while dating her, then firing her when the engagement was broken off. Yeah, I mean, if you ignore all that, yeah, $500,000 salary, PR executives. No wonder they built an entire stage and got wall-to-wall publicity.
We are standing on hollow ground. It's a significant moment for us.
For what was, in reality, just a maglev train traveling a couple of 100 meters.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Seriously, dudes, your countdown was longer than your maglev train journey.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
When you think of Hyperloop, you think maybe this is going to happen years from now. It's going to happen much quicker than anyone imagines.
Wow, a maglev train. That constitutes the first successful test of the Hyperloop.
It's also extremely energy efficient due to solar power utilization. In fact, the Hyperloop can generate more power than it consumes as a closed system.
Because you generate more power than you consume in the system.
Oh, by the way, folks, any transport system would become energy self-sufficient if you put solar panels over the top of it. You don't need your railway to run in a vacuum tube to make that happen.
Pretty goddamn good. Okay, so that's what he had to say back in 2016 about the Hyperloop, okay? let's check out what Thunderfoot says about the Hyperloop a year ago. Okay, let's see the evolution. 1 year ago, Elon Musk's amazing new boring tunnel opens. Elon Musk reinvented. Let's find the Hyperloop one. Okay, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Okay, Water Seer, Hyperloop. 3 years ago. One year ago. There's really... God, he doesn't have anything really. Did they abandon the project, I wonder? Okay, let's see. We've got, let's just go to the new boring tunnel one. Maybe this, I don't know, is the Hyperloop and the tunnel are the same, right? Does he want to put the Hyperloop inside the boring tunnel? Does anybody know? My cousin Joe probably knows. Joe, do you know?
Elon Musk is greeted like a rock star as he emerges from a Tesla in his test tunnel in Hawthorne.
Hey, David, well, Elon Musk saying he thinks he's cracked the code for a better commute, and all of this hinges on this tunnel that he dug under Hawthorne, California.
Musk unveiling the company's first prototype of a high-speed tunnel.
We were not allowed to record our ride inside the tunnel. Overall, it was a bit bumpy, but technically everything went smoothly.
You go like this on the side, and you'd be riding and be like, whoa, and everybody kind of like went, whoa, in the car.
Elon Musk opened his amazing, revolutionary new form of transport this week. It's called the Hypertunnel, and it allows four-wheeled pods to travel at up to 300 miles per hour, all with the amazing ability to choose their own destination with this brand new idea called the Hypersteering Wheel. It allows multiple parallel flows of pods, all with variable speeds.
Shelly, we're talking about the Hyperloop, but this is now the Hypertunnel. This is something different. But let's listen to what Thunderfoot has to say about it, because I don't know when the last time it was that he talked about the Hyperloop.
Operating at the discretion of the pod operator on a completely new surface called a hyperpavement. Yes, Elon Musk, inventor of the tunnel. And he's actually driven a car through it, a completely new idea.
106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Actually, this is Elon Musk's amazing new hypertunnel. Nah, his is much better. He's painted it white. Sorry, what was that? This was all invented over 100 years ago? Surely not. Tell me it isn't so. Elon Musk taking somebody else's idea and pretending they're revolutionary and selling them like they're his own.
This McDonnell Douglas rocket is opening the door to routine and affordable space travel. The DC-XA can lift off vertically under its own power. It has no separate stages or throwaway boosters. It can maneuver and fly in almost any direction with amazing versatility. It can be ready to fly again in just 24 hours.
But before I move on to show you Elon Musk simply lying to your face about how he's pretending he dug a $1 billion tunnel for about $10 million.
And they're very expensive. So typically a tunnel will take 3 to 6 months per mile. In some cases will take a year per mile. And they can cost up to $1 billion per mile. So clearly something needs to be done to revolutionize tunneling technology. We need to be able to build tunnels way faster and for a hell of a lot less money. So normally the tunnels cost, like I said, up to $1 billion. So like a discount tunnel would be sort of $200 million, but we're able to build this tunnel for about $10 million. So
a factor of 100 improvement. I mean, could it really be that there are those thousands of tunnel engineers out there? Not one of them thought of this revolutionary way of making tunnels 100 times cheaper. Yet Elon Musk's brilliance just walks in the room and suddenly he makes it 100 times more efficient. Yeah, it does kind of sound like bullshit snake oil. And there's a very good reason for that.
I sold monorails to Brockway, Ogdenville, and North Haverbrook, and by gum, it put them on the map. Well, sir, there's nothing on earth like a genuine, bona fide, electrified 6-car monorail.
And there were definitely throes of that kind of skepticism being tossed around. I do not share that cynicism. I don't share that skepticism. Being at this event was like magical and incredible. And it captured my imagination, and here's why.
Casey.
Here's this guy who, whatever it was, 18 years ago, 20 years ago, wanted to start an electric car company to hopefully displace combustion engines.
And this visionary was so inspired to follow that goal that he went into electronic banking. PayPal is where Elon Musk made his fortune.
And then here we are now in 2018, and I don't know what the number is, but this year they shipped hundreds of thousands of cars. He did it.
Yeah, and this is actually something that I have some respect for Elon Musk for. Having got billions of dollars, he looked for something useful to do with the money.
I'm high as
However,
fuck.
starting a car company isn't exactly rocket science. Electric cars aren't exactly new. And the jury is still out on whether Tesla will be a long-scale success. However, one thing is certain, this is just confirmational bias. Elon Musk is notorious for making wild promises and then just never delivering on them. Like, for instance, actually put humans into space. Yep, he idly promised that by 2014 they would be putting men into space, and it's still not happened. Now bear in mind, this isn't asking him to do anything revolutionary. This is just asking Elon Musk to replicate what NASA did over 50 years ago. And even while they were years late with being able to put men into space, he was bragging that he would put men around the moon by this time. So what people will frequently say with things like the Hyperloop or solar roadways or hypertunnels is, you just don't have enough vision. You need to believe in Elon Musk. You're just one of those Luddites who would have scoffed at air travel, who would have scoffed at the horseless carriage, who would have scoffed at the idea that we will all be travelling by personal jetpacks 2 years after the moon landing. Well, it turns out Elon Musk is also one of these people who scoffs at revolutionary new ideas. He would have scoffed at air travel and the horseless carriage. I mean, here he is scoffing at the idea of flying cars.
But there are some drawbacks to flying cars. They are essentially it's a helicopter with wheels. And they make a lot of noise, there's a lot of wind force, and the probability of something falling on your head if there are a bunch of flying cars around is much higher than if there are not.
What's wrong, Elon? Why not just make them 1,000 times quieter and 100 times more efficient and so cheap that it won't be economical to bill people for the flying taxi rides? You could eliminate at a single stroke all of Los Angeles' traffic problems. And
I mean, would it be incredible if you could travel around LA, New York, DC, Chicago, Paris, London, anywhere at 150 miles an hour? That'd be phenomenal.
All you would need is flying cars going in every direction.
I saw these hover cars, and I was like, we're going to have something really special here.
You see how easy it would be, Elon? All you need is a big button called automatics, and that's all you need.
My favorite movies!
Flying car concept. I can't believe. Oh, and that, and to make the cars solar powered. I mean, all you need, Mr. Musk, is some wonderful CGI graphics, and just tell everyone that it's easy.
But the thing about going 3D is that you can have like you can have 16 tunnels going in the same direction. So you can have as many tunnels as you want.
Asteroid's brilliant ideas, like rockets that take off and land vertically. Nope, that was all done last century. He's just done the exact same thing with better cameras and a lot better PR. Now, that's not to say that the guy's not made some contributions to rocketry, but like most things Elon, it's overstated probably by a factor of about 100. I mean, let's just take a look at this claim.
So normally, the tunnels cost, like I said, up to $1 billion. So like a discount tunnel would be sort of $200 million, but we're able to build this tunnel for about $10 million. So.
To which most people who don't understand the modus operandi of a snake oil merchant would say, that's amazing. He's made digging tunnels 100 times cheaper, and he's only just started. All he had to do was walk in the room, and amazingly, everything became 100 times cheaper. This must just be the beginning of the revolution. However, for those of us who are a little more cynical about bullshit merchants, let's take a closer look at that. Let's take the most superficial examination of that claim, shall we? Well, yes, it's true that metro systems can cost about $1 billion per mile. However, that's the cost of metro systems. Tunnels dug, lines installed, electric and utilities, and stations built, and so forth. This is what costs $1 billion per mile. That's not the cost of merely digging the tunnel. So what are the costs of digging the tunnel? Well, if you just type it into Google, you'll find that you get costs of about $15 to $30 million per kilometre. Well, surely that can't be right. That would mean that optimistically, Elon Musk is only doing slightly better in the cost of tunnelling than what is normal. Well, let's take an even closer look, shall we? Well, here they deal with the costs of digging tunnels by approximate cross-section. Some tunnels have bigger cross-sections and they cost more to dig per kilometre, others smaller. So let's do a little calculation for Elon Musk's tunnel, shall we? Well, people are about 2 meters tall, so the radius of this tunnel is about 2 meters. Meaning that the cross-section is going to be pi r squared, it's going to be about 12 square meters. Oh, Elon Musk's tunnel is so small it doesn't even fit on this chart. It's not particularly surprising. He can barely drive a single car down his tunnel, where other people are doing things like this. But whatever. So his tunnel is going to be way over on this side of the graph. Now, the cost of excavation here and support is in 2011 euros per meter. So we would expect the minimum here to be somewhere in the region of $500-ish per meter of tunnel, meaning that his 2 kilometer-ish long tunnel, you'd be looking at about $1 million. Well, that can't be right, I hear you say. Elon Musk's tunnel is already 10 times more expensive than the world's estimated minimum costs. So let's take a look at average tunneling cost, and it's about 10 times more. Well, blow me, Elon Musk's revolutionary tunnel is comparable to the average cost of digging a tunnel. Yeah, so much for making tunneling 100 times more efficient.
So normally the tunnels cost, like I said, up to $1 billion. So like a discount tunnel would be sort of $200 million, but we're able to build this tunnel for about $10 million. So.
That's
But
fucking
of course, you
stupid.
would expect the mainstream media to do their due diligence on these claims and check them out for themselves, right?
While modern subway tunnels in Los Angeles cost around $900 million per mile, he says he built this for about $10 million.
Basically, there is no revolution here, not even an incremental advance. So what, you can drive a car through it at 50 miles per hour.
It's only 12 feet in diameter, so it's much more claustrophobic than most transportation tunnels.
We'll be able to go like 150 miles an hour if we want.
A slower, bumpier, and more dangerous ride than going on the freeway. Which brings us to the cost of Elon Musk's tunnel versus freeway. So Elon Musk was bragging about how he was making tunnels 100 times cheaper to dig this tunnel for only $10 million. And it's about a mile long. So what are the costs of building 1 mile of 6-lane freeway? Which, if I were to sell freeways like Elon Musk sells tunnels, these freeways are amazing. They allow cars to travel at up to 300 miles per hour, which is over twice as fast as the speed Elon Musk is proposing to go in his pipe system. So what's that you're saying? It's not safe to drive cars at that sort of speed? What on earth makes you think that Elon Musk has a method for making this safe?
Musk says he created essentially a bumper that can fit over the front tires of any self-driving electric vehicle that will allow people to drive through.
Is they can go up to, like, say, 150 miles an hour.
Dude, if that's the technology that's meant to keep you from knocking into the walls at 150 miles per hour, I think I'll take a pass on this one. So far, all he's done is driven a car down a sewer tunnel. Seriously, why do you expect that he'll be able to travel at 150 miles an hour in these pipes of his? I mean, at least if you're on a freeway and there's an accident ahead of you, you can change lane. Plus, of course, it's relatively easy to sort out an accident on the freeway. Not quite so easy if you're in a tunnel. Look, we're just going to be honest. He's driving a car through a sewer pipe. Sure, it's a sewer pipe painted white with some disco lights, but fundamentally, it's just a sewer pipe.
Right.
He's just reinvented the 100-year-old idea of the subway. But
If he starts talking about the walls, this might be really interesting here.
rather than transporting trains through it, he's going to make it about 100 times less efficient by moving cars through it. And then he's going to make it about another 100 times less efficient by putting giant elevators all over the place. I mean, look, these things are optimistically going to take 1 car up and down per minute. So that's 30 seconds down, 30 seconds up. So 1 elevator will be able to put 60 cars into the system per hour. That's about 1,400 cars per day, if they're running 24 hours a day. Now, the 405, the freeway this is meant to alleviate the traffic on, carries about 500,000 cars per day, some 400,000 cars per day, meaning that merely to match this one interstate, you would need people queuing at about 300 of these elevators and have those elevators running 24 hours a day to carry a comparable amount of traffic. That's 300 giant gaping holes in the ground, 300 elevators to maintain. And that's the absolute minimum to merely replace 1 freeway. Seriously, for a citywide transport system, you would want thousands, tens of thousands of these elevator holes.
And that's what I mean. That's basically the size of a station. See, wherever there's a...
When it kept happening every time when I went to Italy, the same thing. I felt sick. Every time I realized, so every time I go out of the country, I thought it was when I would fly out of the country. Oh, it's something about the plane. I go, why don't I get sick when I fly domestically? Why only when I fly internationally? Well, I realized because I'm not smoking pot when I fly internationally. I don't take pot with me out of the country. That would be crazy. So I don't smoke pot when I'm out of the country. And turns out I had paw withdrawal. What does that feel like, Jimmy? Feels like the flu. Felt like the flu. I had, the night sweats were the worst. Oh.
Withdrawals from
Waking
cannabis.
Up in Norway twice a night, soaking wet. Oh. And, you know, but it wasn't horrible. I could still eat.
How long did it last
I
for?
ate every day.
Yeah, you know what? We walked down the street and
There was
we
an
had
Italian
pizza.
place. Yeah.
It was great.
Oh.
That place was great.
That place was great.
And you weren't feeling well, and it was just a little less than a block away. It was great.
It was great. Surprisingly good food in Norway. You know, they're all about the fish. I'm not all about the fish. I like sushi, and I do like some fish, but I can't have fish like 3 times a day. Like, they have it for breakfast and lunch and dinner. I'm like, come on with the fish already. And it's tough to eat regular fish after you eat sushi, because sushi's so good. Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, who doesn't miss sushi?
I do.
You know my favorite sushi?
Yeah.
Salmon.
Oh, we're going to talk about that.
I know.
All right, so let's get to the show.
Seriously, do you miss salmon?
I can't tell you how much I miss salmon. Okay, I guess I can. A lot. I miss it a lot. Both ways, seared and not seared. I love it both ways. Seared salmon changed my life, I'll tell you that. And it's got the good omega-3s you're supposed to have.
Later, Joe.
It has the lowest amount of... Well, we're going to get to that. Okay,
Love
let's
you,
get to
bro.
this. Hey, everybody, there's a headline. Here's the New York Times. How Republicans are trying to use the Green Party to their advantage. This is the New York Times. Do you need to see why the mainstream news media is garbage? This is the New York Times. This is straight up propaganda.
Huh, froze up all of a sudden. Let's close the garden.
The GOP has sought to help Green Party candidates in previous election cycles to siphon voters from Democrats. This year is no different, but it hasn't always worked. If Democrats fought Republicans as hard as Democrats fight the Greens, there'd be no chance, even a remote chance, of replacing Ruth Bader Ginsburg before the election. But the Democrats do not fight the Republicans the way they fight the Greens. The Green Party is getting assistance from Republicans, claim the Democrats, who featured 100 Republicans at their national convention a month ago. The Democrats are more against the left than anything else. They're not against Republicans. They're against the left. Did they have any Green Party people at their convention to try to get some of the Green Party people to vote for them? Did they have any socialists at their convention to get some of the socialist event? No. Who did they have? They had Republicans. This New York Times hit piece is full of unattributed, unsubstantiated allegations of Republicans backing the Green Party. Total slander, like the Home Depot billionaire Bernie Marcus coordinating in efforts to support the Green Party, are invoked without giving a single example. That's from Michael O'Neill from the Green Party. Without giving a single example. Why? Why does he not have to give a single example? Because at the New York Times, if you just repeat something enough, it's automatically true. Like Russiagate, WMDs.
You should all be following
Gaddafi.
Jimmy Dore on YouTube.
Syria, gas attack, all that stuff. Pennsylvania Supreme Court election rulings are big wins for Biden. And they're a huge lose for democracy. So they're getting rid of choices on the ballot because the Democrats are afraid they're going to lose votes. So it's just crazy. Like, this is this kind of shit that they would claim Putin does. But this is what the Democrats do. I'm not sure how disenfranchising people is supposed to motivate them to vote for your party. So do you think by kicking the Greens off the ballot, all those people who were going to vote for the Greens are going to now show up and vote for the Democrats who just kick them off the ballot? Do you really think that's how it's... This is their voter outreach is just called bullying them into submission. Many Greens would have voted for down-ballot Democrats, and the Democrats just told them to stay home.
Oh, so good. Meaty, too. They're all meaty.
This is the Democrats doing this.
They're real flavorful and juicy and sweet.
Imagine if this was... This sounds like Russia. Why is Russia doing this? Correct me if I'm wrong, by getting Greens knocked off the ballots in several states, it likely means those voters will just stay home. And I assume this will only hurt Democrats down ballot. Not sure I understand all this celebrating. I'm with you.
Wow. Fucking Democrats, man.
MSNBC celebrating this. MSNBC, people with MSNBC contracts are happy that the Democrats are fascists and they're limiting your choice. That's the kind of stuff authoritarians do. But there's a lot of people who claim they're left and they're actually authoritarians. Which is why they seek out contracts with MSNBC. Which is a huge corporation, invented a news network to fuck the left. To squelch them. That's what MSNBC is. But you see Democrats celebrating this. This is exactly right. You see YouTube hosts celebrating this. You see it. YouTube hosts celebrating less democracy.
YouTube hosts. Here we go. I get all...
How much money do you got to get paid to celebrate less democracy as a YouTube host? I'm going to guess the steak dinner is all cost. All it takes to buy those motherfuckers. A vote for us is a vote for democracy, the Democratic Party shouts as they sue Pennsylvania and Texas to kick the Green Party off the ballot. A vote for us is a vote for democracy, the Democratic Party shouts as they sue Pennsylvania and Texas to kick the Green Party off the ballot. In a real democracy, people shouldn't have any choice but to vote for the shitty candidate the Dems choose for you. That's a real democracy. The solution to this for the Democrats to offer, the solution to this is for the Democrats to offer something to Green voters. I don't think delegitimizing participation in democracy is a road that will have favorable outcomes. If the Democrats understood irony, I think the first thing they would do is change their name. Right? The solution for this is the Democrats to offer them something to the Green voters. That's what I keep saying. The solution to Biden and Trump being neck and neck and all these Hollywood blue check cunts fucking worried about Joe Biden might lose because I'm this powerful. Why doesn't Joe Biden offer something to the 100 million people who don't vote?
Dude,
it's because people have been beaten down.
Cunts?
People are lemmings. They're willing submissives.
Dude, did Jimmy just say blue check cunts?
Fun politically.
You've got to let me know if that's what I think I just heard him
say.
You
have to compartmentalize that up.
Oh my God!
It's crazy.
Did Jimmy just say blue check cunts?
Nobody will tell Joe Biden to go get a vote. They'll go, why aren't you voting for Joe Biden? Instead of, why won't Joe Biden go get your vote?
It's Jimmy Dore.
It's the exact opposite of how politics works, but this is the effect of Bill Clinton's Telecommunications Act of 1996, which took us from 50 giant media companies down to 6. And so now everybody has the same ideas in their head walking around the country. That's it.
It's Jimmy Dore.
Nobody understands how politics works anymore. Joe Biden is supposed to go get votes to win an election.
D-O-R-E,
Hillary Clinton was supposed to go campaign
Dore.
in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan to get votes. She was in Arizona and Texas.
Okay, he didn't say blue check cunts. Okay. No one heard him say blue check cunts. Okay. No one heard him say...
You know what I like is when I find out, when I do, when there's a person who I find is being duplicitous being a gaslighter and being damaging to the left, and they pretend to be the left, and then I do a video about them, and it gets a lot of views, right? But then when I find out, so what this will happen more often than you think. When I do a video about somebody, taking them down, exposing them, telling the truth about them, what will often happen, the first time this happened, I did this with my brother on the radio in Chicago. I told a joke about my brother, who was a bit of a dick to me. So I wrote a joke about him that was accurate. And I did it on the radio in Chicago on his favorite radio station. MySpace, that's how long ago it was. I got a MySpace from a guy who was in the car with him when it was on the when he heard it, and he said, "My brother's face turned purple." He said, "I've never seen someone's face turn purple before." So that happens once. So that just happened. So we did it. We exposed someone recently, fake lefty, and one of his best friends texted me yesterday, saying, "Boy, he's going nuts. Whatever you did, you got under his skin because he is livid." And so that's nice. I figured he was. Okay. Laura.
Emblemed Fate says, Jimmy, it's not 6 media companies, it's now 4.
Is it?
Well, that's what one person says, and you know, of course, that would be easy to believe. Capisce?
Capisce. That's one of my favorite jokes. Come to this country, learn the language. Capiche? It's a great joke. It's not my joke. That's not my joke. I forget whose joke that is, but that's a good joke. Hey, here's some good news in a sense. People are getting together, fighting back against the establishment instead of just voting for a corporate warmongering racist and saying, I did my work. People are actually getting together. In Chicago, healthcare workers are leading the largest strike ever at the University of Illinois, Chicago. In the face of a deadly pandemic, the UIC's largely Black and Latino hospital workforce is demanding workplace safety and a livable wage. Nearly 5,000 workers at the University of Illinois at Chicago, 5,000 workers are on strike this week in the biggest work stoppage the campus has ever seen. The strikers, who are primarily Black and Latino hospital workers, are fighting for better health care, workplace safety, and livable wages as the COVID-19 pandemic rages on. And hopefully every other university in the country follows their example. The walkout started on September 12th when hundreds of nurses with the Illinois Nurses Association hit the picket lines. Nurses and teachers, like the only thing we can rely on, and Christian Smalls.
Those have to be the smallest unions around now, right?
There aren't any real unions left anymore.
Teaching and nurses.
We got the Teamsters, that still is a thing. Auto workers, UAW. They still make cars in America, isn't that hard to believe? Then quickly grew two days later when thousands more clerical, professional, technical, and maintenance workers from the SEIU Local 73 also went on strike. They're striking for things they shouldn't even have to ask for. They're striking for a livable wage and PPEs.
Hey, Enoch, what's up,
Stuff
buddy?
they shouldn't even have to ask for. A livable wage and protective gear from COVID. Stuff they shouldn't even have to ask for. They have to strike to get it. That's how messed up capitalism is in America. That's how corrupted everything is in America. We won't stop until workplace conditions improve, wages are better, safe staffing levels are implemented, personal protective equipment is universal, and protections from privatization are in place. We won't stop until workplace conditions improve, wages are better, safe staffing levels are implemented, and personal protective equipment is universal. In other words, they may never be able to stop. Here they are.
They rallied at the Bean, then marched to the Thompson Center.
Right, Philip? I agree.
At least 300 healthcare workers, some UIC nurses, others SEIU members in the healthcare industry, walked the streets of downtown to make sure their message was heard.
We're trying to build more awareness, especially down here, downtown by the governor's office.
They want the governor to take a stand and publicly stand with them.
He's been a hero for us earlier, and we're asking him now to stand with all of the heroes that you see out here.
The 4,000 SEIU members, which include the lab and medical techs, clerical and maintenance workers at the hospital, joined the 800 nurses in their strike. Both are asking for what they say is a modest pay increase and workplace protection. Nurses also are looking for a pay increase, but also want more personal protection equipment and a lighter patient load. While SEIU's strike is open-ended, the nurses' strike, which was only scheduled for 7 days, ends tomorrow morning.
We continue negotiating. Hopefully this opens eyes. If we have to be out here again, I want to be out here again. I don't know. I think we should continue doing it.
The hospital has said in statements it respects its employees' right to strike, but doesn't think a work stoppage at this time is good for the campus community.
No, we should wait for a time when it's more convenient for the campus community to do our protest. I don't think they understand how protests are supposed to work. Protests are supposed to inflict pain. Protests are supposed to make it uncomfortable. That's why you protest. This would be the perfect time. If the university says this is the wrong time to do it, this is the exact right time to do it. The point of a strike is you're supposed to show them how irreplaceable you are. You're supposed to inflict pain on your employer so that they meet your demands. Hey, could you hold off on hurting us until when it won't hurt us as much? Could you do your strike when it won't be as effective? That's what they're saying.
And these nurses are striking to protect the health
Yes,
and wellness
I know.
of people who've yet been hospitalized.
Now, we have reached out to the governor's office for comment on this. So far, we haven't heard back. Negotiating teams for both unions are back at the bargaining table today.
Okay. Since the pandemic began, healthcare workers at UIC have been sounding the alarm about inadequate safety measures, including lack of proper PPE and universal testing. Approximately 270 UIC healthcare workers have now contracted the coronavirus. Almost 300 workers at this hospital have contracted the coronavirus. So it looks like they have a point. And at least 4 of them have lost their lives to the virus. According to Joel Losbacher, a UIC civil service employee with SEIU 73, hospital management initially instructed workers not to wear masks, telling them it was a bad look.
Oh.
Hey, you know what else is a bad look? Organ failure. While publicly praising frontline workers as heroes, university administrators remain recalcitrant in contract negotiations, consistently rejecting unions' proposals meant to improve workplace safety. So apparently, the administrators at the University of Illinois Chicago also have a public and a private position. Their public position is to call them heroes. Their private position is to fuck them over. Oh, these guys are heroes. Could they get a living wage? No. Remember, in unity is strength. This is the only thing Joe Biden isn't going to fix this for you. If the Democrats aren't going to fix this for you, AOC isn't going to fix this for you. I'm talking about the situation the country's in. Your politicians are not going to fix this problem for you. Nancy Pelosi, the squad, any other motherfucker running for Congress right now is not going to fix this problem for you. This is what's going to fix this problem. Christian Smalls will be on He's doing it. He was the guy smeared by Amazon's executive board for standing up for the workers during COVID. He was fired, and then it leaked that they conspired to smear him. A worker, an employee, an hourly employee who they fired, who was out of a job. Then the guys making millions of dollars got together to conspire how to smear that guy. So this is the only thing that's going to get us anywhere out of this. It's not going to be a Supreme Court justice. It's not going to be a politician. Certainly isn't going to be MSNBC, which is a right-wing organization. And if you have a contract with MSNBC, you have a contract with a right-wing organization.
Amazing. That's what happens when you tell the truth all
Okay.
the time. You get to the bottom of shit, you know?
So I like salmon. Salmon, one of the healthiest
I
fishes
like
you can eat.
salmon.
Fish.
Salmon is good.
It's got all the good stuff, and it's got not very little of the bad stuff. No mercury, right? Because all the fish are polluted with mercury now, so you got to be careful. Tuna, you can only have tuna like once a week because it's got so much mercury in it. And so, but salmon's safe to eat, relative. So I eat a lot of it. Before the COVID, I used to go to have sushi once a week, and I would eat salmon, mostly just salmon.
Once a week.
Well, guess what? I have some bad news, but let's raise everybody's consciousness about this. Salmon are the biological foundation of river ecosystems. This Alaska mine could generate $1 billion a year. Is it worth the risk to salmon?
Mining what? How does it risk the salmon? Tell us the story.
I guess the question is, should we destroy our ecosystem? Probably not. But there's money involved.
Come on.
So there's an Alaska mine that's going to generate $1 billion a year, and it's going to wreck the salmon run. But not just any salmon run. This mine threatens America's largest wild salmon run. Boy, I wonder what Scott Pruitt's going to do. He'll probably lock himself in his padded private room, then do something really shitty. That's my guess. EPA Administrator Scott Pruitt has been stewarding the Pebble Mine project, which focuses on a deposit containing billions of tons of copper and gold in the very same headwaters where the salmon spawn. Located in a seismically active region high in sulfur, the proposed mine and associated infrastructure would dangerously contaminate the river systems. Unlike humans, they can't offer the salmon an insulting low amount of money to relocate.
Insanely low.
Republican Alaska Senate Majority Leader Rick Halford said, "You couldn't pick a better place to ruin both rivers." Ha! Contaminating water. Usually not a good idea. We kind of need that stuff. Kind of.
You couldn't pick a better place.
He's a Republican.
Wow.
The Senate Majority Leader, Republican, is warning that you're going to ruin both rivers.
Wow.
He's a Republican. So it's not clear whether he means that's a good thing or a bad thing. Hey, we can ruin both rivers. Let's do it. Here we go. Here's a trailer from the movie about it.
How they can be hatched in these river systems, find their way out to sea, spend 2 or 3 years in the ocean, and come back to the exact same place that they were born. It's absolutely amazing to me how they can do that.
You can't not think about them somewhat mythically.
I think it's valuable to protect all of our wild places. We're running out of them.
If you want to see magic, come to Bristol Bay, Alaska, and you'll see magic.
Do we love salmon? I don't even know if love's a strong enough word. It is who we are. It is who our people have been and who our people will continue to be.
And the statute says if we get a permit, EPA at that point can decide whether it wishes to veto this project. I don't think it will if we get a permit.
Some things are not for sale.
Unless we change our attitude towards wilderness, we're going to go down with the other species. We lose wild salmon, we're going to lose ourselves too. It's all there in nature, as far as I'm concerned.
We have messed up every other natural run in the world, except this one. And this being the last there is makes me want to pay attention more than I ever have.
Every other natural wild run they've gotten rid of. This is the last one. And they're going to pollute it for money. So somebody can make money. That's it. It's not necessary that we get copper and gold out of there. Somebody can make money doing it. So they're going to do it, and they're going to poison that river. The largest wild salmon run in the world. Last one left.
Yay, Trump, 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 Trump,
So in
Trump,
summary,
Trump,
for once,
Trump, Trump,
seriously,
Trump,
this one
Trump,
time,
Trump, Trump.
Can we not be assholes?
No, Jimmy. This is what Donald Trump's going to do for
US
4 more
EPA
years, bro.
estimates the mine could
That's
grow
what we
to
have
be
to look
nearly
forward
as deep
to.
as the Grand Canyon, cover an area larger than Manhattan, and fill a major football stadium up to 3,900 times with mine waste. All for nothing. Unnecessary. This proposed low-grade sulfur mine would be located upstream of Bristol Bay's two most productive river streams.
I wonder how much Trump policies.
So it'll destroy the salmon and probably smell awful too.
contributed to
It's a
this.
double whammy. Can you believe all this stuff?
Joe Biden says
4,000 football
says he wants to
fields.
protect the
But
environment.
stadiums, not
It'd be
fields,
nice. You know?
stadiums.
It'd be nice.
Full of mining waste. Wow, that's enough shit to fill the Senate. The location is in a seismically active region where
Happy
shifting ground
420,
could cause
everybody.
massive dam breaching. Wow, that's a great reason to keep this going then. Indigenous people and others stand to lose a millennia-old culture and organic food supply that could last forever if undisturbed. This threatens the $1.8 billion fishing industry. It threatens 14,000 American jobs. It threatens 46% of the world's supply of sockeye salmon. Wow. 46% of the world's supply of sockeye salmon. So, hopefully this is enough money on the other side of this that Trump's EPA will listen. I'm guessing it's not going to. The bid to save Alaska wild salmon received surprise boost from Trump Jr. The president's eldest son opposes controversial Pebble Mine at headwaters of Bristol Bay, home of the world's largest wild salmon run.
Huh. That's refreshing.
I called it. So there's money on the other side of it.
But your daddy made it possible.
Is listening a little.
But
Trump
now
Jr.
your daddy made it
Alaska Pebble
possible.
Mine opposed by Trump
Now
Jr.
you're
hit with
opposing it?
Unexpected setback.
Your daddy opened it up,
The
son.
federal government announced that a controversial copper and gold mine in Alaska would cause substantial environmental damage, could not receive a permit with its current proposed plan, and ordered the company to offset those impacts in order for the project to move forward. I'm not sure how you can offset completely destroying a natural ecosystem, but I guess they're going to try. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers told Pebble Limited Partnership, the company behind the proposed mine, the footprint of the mine's adverse impacts could cover nearly 3,000 acres of wetlands, 132.5 acres of open water, and 130 miles of streams, along with areas affected by other infrastructure. Sharon Brown, director of the Alaska Heritage Campaign, says the Army Corps has finally figured out what the rest of us has known for a decade. Pebble CEO Tom Collier dismissed the significance of the letter, telling CNN it was a routine notice that doesn't impede the progress of the project. All of this is an anthill made into a mountain. Elna Hurley, executive director of the United Tribes of Bristol Bay, argued that there's no way for Pebble to fully offset the mine's environmental damage. It is impossible to mitigate the devastation this mine will have on our native cultures, our way of life that has been sustained for thousands of years by the pristine lands and waters of the Bristol Bay watershed. They're making it, this is an anthill made into a mountain. That's what they said about fracking, how dangerous cigarettes were, DAPL, Keystone XL. Do you notice a trend? So save our salmon. So hopefully there's enough money on the other side of that. Oh boy. Okay, let me get this ready.
Want to come to me right now?
Sure.
Okay, come to me, Koki. Spooky top of the hour. What are the odds of a Trump UBI? Huh? What are the odds of Trump moving more left than Biden?
0.
Let's say 100%. Hey, Naysguard. Hello, Nate. We have not gone to our special secret P.O. box yet, so I'm going to get it tomorrow. Thank you for sending the package. The big bottle arrived. Thank you so much, amigo. Naysguard and Triage Oil. Something to soothe anything. Zachary.
And your butt, too.
Weller, who wrote in Hawkins.
You can put it on your butt.
WLER, who wrote in.
All right.
Hawkins for Prez, took crap from family for it.
I hope you guys
Said
enjoyed
it was
that.
A wasted vote. My LMC mom said, I want everything free because I support Sanders. Yeah, you know, Zachary, that's such a funny thing that people say. You want everything free. They diminish, you know, the programs that we already have. You know, we have the Postal Service. Comes to my house every day.
-5.
I pay taxes.
Well, you want it for free.
Jimmy, that was my point. That was my point. Why do I want it for free? That's so funny. Hey, Get Funky. Already I love your handle, Get Funky. Hey, Jimmy, I loved your episode with Duncan Trussell. And seeing the fusion between the spiritual and political aspects of both of you. God bless you all and keep up the great work. Thank you, Get Funky.
Dude, that
Steve K. Came the movement. Find
Duncan
leadership.
Trussell
Right now we have no one. I'd like to
amazing.
hear more talk about leadership. We need someone who people will get behind. I hear you, Steve K. Hey, Steve K, have you checked out Movement for the People's Party? Have you?
I'm going to get out of here, you guys. Thanks for watching.
Kenneth Topping.
I've got 0 audience participation.
Kenneth Topping.
Show what's for
Wouldn't we
dinner?
have more
Pizza
of a
and
chance
wings.
Fighting Biden.
But
the
you guys
oligarchs?
aren't
I love
talking
this
to me, so I'm
question,
going to go.
Jim.
I love y'all. I will see you
Wouldn't we
guys
have more chance
maybe
for
tonight.
Biden
Definitely
Biden, the
tomorrow.
oligarch than Trump, the authoritarian
Go check them out.
dictator?
All right. What would
Bye,
make
guys.
you think that?